we go to the Insider Hotline and say hello to a man who may have played at the Montreal Forum.
Oh, he'd have dominated the Forum. They'd have been booing him.
Yeah, dogs in his pads for sure. Working the gate.
So I did play in Montreal. I've had two things happen in Montreal. One night, I played really, really well, and I think the game was tied 2-2. We tied 2-2. Back then, like I think I have 38 or 36 ties in my career. So we played to a 2-2 tie, and they had this like famous writer there, Red Fisher, whatever his name,
Red Kelly,
Red Fisher.
Yeah, but he was a jackass to people, and I remember he passed away like somewhat recently, and everyone's like, oh, and I didn't like the guy. The guy took a shot at me. He was like, this bum, like the Canadians couldn't even beat this bum backup or whatever. And I was like, well, who are you? Like, the hell with you. Like, I got like a second star that night. And I was, to this day, I still get mad when I think about it. Because
feel the passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I had a great game and I got a star and I got some pigeon like giving me heck. Like, oh, this guy's I'm like, and of course, everyone, you can't say anything bad about this guy. And I'm like, I'll say something bad. I didn't like that the guy took a shot at me for no reason. But apparently that was his shtick, was be rude to people. So I didn't like, so that was number one. And then number two, I was playing for the St. Louis Blues and Grant Fuhr was starting. And I had a few of those Shan shows, the hot dogs.
Show.
Steamies.
And I had one before the game or whatever. And then after the first period, there was a box of them sitting there. So where the goalie, the backup goaltender doesn't sit on the bench. He sits across in an aisle. Okay, right by the fans and I had one and I'd put it in my glove. And I was, kind of just watching the game and I like dig into my glove. Well, apparently there was a camera up top that
it's in the sky.
It got a little play. And after the second period, Mike Kitchen, our assistant coach, comes in and goes, hey, Q wants to see you. Joel Quenneville wants to see you. And I was like, oh, maybe he wants, a little advice on power play or what am I seeing type of stuff. And he like presses play like on the TV. And it shows me just like eating this.
Oh boy. How'd that go?
The coaching staff is dying laughing because they're eating it themselves. Like, Q is a very funny guy, very funny. And he goes, enjoying yourself out there? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. But he goes, like, anything to tell me? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then shows me eating a hot dog. And I'm like, all right, I got busted. He goes, they're really good, aren't they, dude? Save it for after the game. I'm like, I got you. So that was.
That's awesome.
And then my third story about that was Fierzy. Fierzy had like 4 before I was starting that night. And Fierzy said to me, like, how are you, chum? You feel okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, I've had 4 of those hot dogs. So he goes, you better be good. And I was like, all right. So everybody loved those hot dogs. So that was the Forum and the Bell Center. So there you go.
I don't want to pivot too hard, but like you mentioned Quenneville, like he's back, he's in Anaheim. They're off to a surprisingly really good start. What makes him so great? Obviously the run in Chicago, but like widely regarded as a guy that people love playing for.
Savant as a coach, as far as what he sees. So he's really good at, it's not even systems because we did have really tight systems in St. Louis. Keep in mind, I had him as a coach in 20 years, 20 years ago, more than that. Like late 90s type of thing.
That's 30.
But when I think of Q, great communicator with his top players. He always had a sense of like where to press. Not like Daryl. Like Daryl had a feeling, okay, which guy he could put his thumb on, which guy needed a pat on the back. Q had this rapport about him where he allowed the player to trust themselves, but he was able to kind of wedge people in the right direction of getting to their potential. And he wasn't a screamer early on, but then he became a very intense coach after a while. I actually saw his progression because when he took over in St. Louis, he took over for Keenan, who was pretty intense.
Right.
and Q would just sit back there. But then by the time, 3 years later, Q was yelling and screaming back there too. Intense guy, but really smart. I know. Listen, he went through the thing in Chicago. Lots of blame to go around. He's come back. I've had conversations with him. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite coaches I ever played for. He's a good person. Yes, good people make mistakes, but he's also, learned some lessons from it. And I think he's going to be really good for that Anaheim organization.
What do you see in that team? I feel like they're coming hard.
They are. You know why? Because they've got young skill.
Yeah.
Like they moved away from Zegras because the young players had pushed him out.
Yeah.
That's really what it was, And I don't know if they felt that Zegras, there was an injury there, so maybe his progression was hurt. But, that Carlson kid can play. McTavish can play. Troy Terry's kind of like their
vet. Yeah.
their vet. He's like 27, and he's a really good player.
Well, and that Bennett Seneca or Seneke, whatever you say it, it felt like a huge reach. They take him at 3 at the time, and he was projected to go from 8 to 12 or whatever. And you're like, whoa, Pat Verbeek, what's going on? He's got 3 already. And talking to a pro scout, it's like, this kid's legit. He's going to be a weapon. He came on strong that draft year. That's another young guy they got there. And never mind the D. They just re-upped, the defenseman that the American that was phenomenal. Jackson Lacombe out of nowhere.
Yeah, they've got and they got a goalie there who's, I think, a rock star. He's that Lucas Dostal. He's good. There's a reason why they wanted to Gibson out and clear a path for this kid.
Yeah.
So, they've got a goalie. They've got a couple defensemen that are really good, and then they've got this forward group that are coming, and so you add in Kreider. You already had Killorn there. You got Trouba. You've got that Radko Gudas. They've got these grizzled, vets to help these young guys along. I don't think they're, they might be the surprise of the year if they made the playoffs, but I don't know if they'll be a playoff team. But they're going to challenge a lot of people this year.
They're in their division. I'll say that.
What are the odds? What are the odds, Jack?
Yeah, Kreider's got 4 goals already. For an old guy, that's worked out okay. Cutter Gauthier's got 4.
Rangers had to get rid of that.
Oh, that's the other guy that I couldn't remember his name. The kid who wanted out of Philly. That's Cutter Gauthier. That kid's a player. That kid's a player. So, and keep in mind, they moved the young defenseman, right shot. He's in Philly for Gauthier. What's his name?
Jamie Drysdale.
Yeah, Drysdale. And you kept thinking, okay, the face of the rebuild in Anaheim was Drysdale and Zegras. Really?
Yeah.
And they moved past both of them. So it's interesting. And now both of them are in Philly. So it's just, I think Anaheim is going to be a force to be reckoned with. A lot like San Jose. San Jose's had a dreadful start. Mm-hmm. But I still think San Jose has got some really, really good young players. They just got to put it together. I didn't love that Will Smith's comments the other day too.
The kid?
Yeah, the Will Smith, not the singer, the player in San Jose.
What did he say?
LA Dodger.
He basically said it sounds like that Warsofsky,
yeah,
criticized him and said, and he's like, no, I'm just going to keep playing the way I play. He was doing an in-game an interview.
Keep in me.
I'm going to keep playing the play I want to play. I'm like, that's really not the thing you want to say or do.
Yeah.
And the coach is trying to give you some direction.
Are they just as good to F it up one more year and get one more spot? Because the climb is going to have to happen at some point, but you might as well be as stacked as possible before you start that climb. No.
Yeah, and I think this start might help them do that. You know what I mean? It's been a bad start, but that Celebrini's a player. That Smith is a player. They've got, and if the goalie can put it together too, the lefty, the Askarov, if he can put it together, he's going to be a star or a bust. There's no in between. That Askarov or whatever. I always butcher his name.
Yeah.
Well, and like Misa, they get him in the top 5 this past year. They have the
Well, they
Sam
got that one.
Dickinson
I was going to
defenseman.
say Dickinson was rated top 5 the year of his draft. They got him later on.
They got a few vets. I don't know that Klimberg was the right move, but I did like the Orlov signing. Steady, big left shot guy. Toffoli's there. You know, he can give you 30 there.
Well, and you can.
Jeff Skinner's got 3, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they do. You know what they have is old and new type of thing, but it just they're kind of in the same bucket as Anaheim, where they're going to be really good, but you might be better served getting into the McKenna sweepstakes and see if you can land one more.
One more.
Yeah.
What's that say for our team?
Yeah. What
I
bucket?
was just going to say I would argue we're going to be a month from now. We're going to be talking McKenna sweepstakes potentially. Just
called Mission McKenna.
Mission McKenna. We started last week. Yeah.
There you go. So that must have been on Thursday because I was on the show on Wednesday. So I did not hear that.
That was before they blew
There's been 5 or 6
straight
straight losses since then. So
And it's a tough start, but it's a time to reevaluate, especially for us idiots that just talk the game and we don't have to be down there and deal with it. I said yesterday that the coach should make it as fun as possible because it's already coming across as they're stressed out. Because oddly enough, there's expectations this year and they're going to have a hard time living up to them. Last year, there were none and everything went well and everyone played well and they worked their asses off and they were just enjoying the ride. This year, they're kind of expected and they've been talking about it. They've been selling it as you guys didn't believe in us last year, but we're back again and we'll be good.
97 points.
You're
this
not
year.
that
We're
good.
in.
You are what you are.
Right.
You should just be enjoying it. Huska looks stressed out to me. We said it yesterday.
Yeah.
We could be wrong, but rarely are.
Let me ask you a question because I'm trying to think as a player. I played on an expansion team, okay?
Yeah.
Minnesota Wild, before they had all these rules where it would make
a team good.
Right.
that good right away. As a player, I'm trying to remember, did I not feel stressed? Did I not feel like I wanted to win every day? Did I not feel like, so I'm sitting there going, how did Jacques Lemaire approach things? I remember Jacques Lemaire one time saying, we had a practice and it was all systems. And I'll never forget this. He's like, you need to play like this every night or we're going to get killed. And it was basically like he wasn't paraphrasing. He's like, you play like this, we're going to have a chance to win in every game. We might not win, but he said, we will be in every game and we will not embarrass ourselves. Because it was basically, I'm paraphrasing, but we're all cast-offs from other teams.
Yep.
Other teams didn't want you, okay? But we're this band of cast-offs, the replacements type of thing. And can we have a good year? Can we have success? So why I'm saying that is, while I was in that, I don't remember. I'm sure there was stress, and I felt that there was internal stress. You put it on as a player, you want to have success. But I think the coaches, the expectation was low. It's like we're an expansion team where we expect to lose. I remember Jacques having a conversation with me saying, you're the veteran goaltender. You're going to get some really tough assignments. And, Anaheim was struggling back then. And it was supposed to be my start. And he'd be like, no, you're playing the back-to-back in Colorado tomorrow. And I would be like, oh, okay, Sakic, Forsberg,
Sweet.
that whole nonsense, and Patrick Waugh, you name it. So, when I look at it, I'm looking at the Flames, like these guys, they're going to play their asses off. And Kadri and Coleman and, veteran guys who have won and take a lot of pride in their game, I don't know if their approach will be any different. You're saying from a coaching standpoint, make it fun. Like that's,
I'm saying, yeah, I think so. I would say
because
we're a bit of a Debbie Downer in this room, and we're okay with it because of what you just said, because of the San Jose's and the Anaheims, and you can see how these guys are going to be good. Why are they going to be good? Not because they signed a free agent. Not because they made a trade, because they drafted well. And they drafted high talent, game-changing players.
Well, and you have to trust that Connie, when placed in that position, now it might just happen organically here. Let's be honest. It might just be organically. Like we're not, you don't have to sell off a bunch of players to bottom out. It just might organically, like maybe Dustin Wolf has a good season, not a great season. You know, maybe Kadri takes a step back from, maybe Coleman takes a step back from what he did last year, that type of stuff. It might just happen organically where it's like, okay, we have a decision to make. And I say we, it's Connie and his management group going, what are we doing here? Well, we're probably going to sell off some players or trade some players that will bring value back to our organization and trade either for young talent or high draft picks so that you can either retool on the fly, very young, or blow it up. And, you know, I think the focus is at some point, if they, for lack of better words, wave the white flag and go, we're in on McKenna.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? You know?
Well, like you said, they might, or they're last. Like,
yeah,
they're looking up at a team with 0 wins in San Jose. They're below them.
They're not establishing, and sadly, they haven't had the best of efforts. They've had a couple.
Yeah.
They've had some efforts in games, but never complete games. Maybe last game was their most 60-minute effort.
They played well, but keep in mind, I think they're sitting there worried that we're going to get our heads beat in if we don't play well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that team is good. So I look at it and you know, I think these conversations are going to be had, but I felt like it's really early to have them. Like I kind of,
but that's the situation they're in. They've created it by not winning, and and they've had a tough schedule. And Wolf has been good, not great. You know, all the things. Kadri's not scoring, Coleman. Like all the things that you just listed as to the reasons why they might not have success this year are present.
Well,
we have to be okay with that.
Let me ask you guys this: the team they're playing tonight is a pretty damn good template. Right.
Yes. Another example of what you're trying to be.
It wasn't scorched earth. It was, you know, we've been methodically.
It wasn't scorched earth, but boy, they did the right thing with asset management and with drafting.
That's drafting. That's developing. That's, you know, finding the right players in that progression of their retool / whatever that was.
Can I ask you about that? Because it stands out to me all the time. You've brought it up twice. You're going to make a trade and the team's not doing well and somebody wants Coleman. Okay. And you're going to evaluate, you're trading to a team and it's like, well, okay, well, what draft pick can I get? Or what young player can I get?
Right.
My concern with the young player is that the team giving up on that young player knows him best, right? It's a lot of times you're like, well, we're go pick up this Sharon Govich.
Yeah.
Out of Jersey. Well, Jersey knew what he was. They knew he could score, but they knew he was a bit of a dog.
Right.
And there's a lot of ups and downs. And that's what we've got here. We're like, can this guy play? He's not even playing now. He's 5.5. He's supposed to score 30. He's sitting in the press box.
Yeah.
Is there any extra fear of trading for a kid instead of a pick? Do you think? Because it's almost, to finish my thought on it, it's like coaching. Or if you're the GM, you only get so many coaches, right? And then you're out. Well, if you draft the kid in, say, the top 2, you get a 2nd round pick and you draft him and he's not progressing as much as you think, usually that's still an asset.
Right.
Whereas if you take a kid that was the 2nd rounder and put him into your lineup and he's still not doing it, that asset is not as high, right? Because there's more of a track record. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And you're always questioning, why is that team we're trading with willing to give up player X?
It's Kirby Doc tonight, Noodles. Like,
I was just going to say Kirby Doc because I said, look at Chicago. Kirby Doc was 20 when they traded him to Montreal. 21. I think he was 21. And I remember thinking, why are they giving up on a 6'4" right shot, 21-year-old centerman that has upside? Like, what is Chicago seeing that Montreal isn't seeing? Now, there is the injury issues because he unfortunately hasn't been able to be super healthy, but he's a good player. But you're right. Like, Pinder, you beat me to the punch. I was sitting there thinking that was exactly what I was thinking. It's like, why is a team that is in a rebuild willing to give up a young guy? And the only thing I could think of is that when Chicago thinks they'd be good. Doc would either cycle out or cost them too much money to re-sign. So it's like, let's do it now. Let's flush it out. We're bottoming out. We got Bedard. Now we're going to build around, instead of 21 to 23-year-olds, it's going to be 18 to 21-year-olds. There's that next cycle. Because I think managers, and I think this would be a fair comment. If you sat down with any manager, they should be able to tell, they don't have to tell us in the media, they don't have to tell the fans, but they should be able to tell ownership what's our 1-year plan, our 3-year plan, and our 5-year plan. Okay. And all of them have different levels to it, because in your 1-year plan, yeah, we're trying to make the playoffs. But if we're not going to make the playoffs, in our 1-year plan, it's accruing assets. But when those assets are really good in year 3 or year 5, they're not going to be able to they're not going to cost too much, and that we're going to have to trade them because they priced themselves out. Like you have to have these plans that scale together and match what you're trying to get to. Connie's obviously trying to build a Stanley Cup winner. That's why you take the job. That's what you try and do. How do you do that when you have some old, some new, all of that? I don't know if you go scorched earth or you take the Montreal/New York Ranger mold, because that's what they did. It was basically the same person, right? Like that did that, Jeff Gordon, and he took that Ranger mold. They put out the letter, hey, we're rebuilding, all of that, and then they had one signing that kind of fast tracked it. I think it was Panarin, and then you start doing that. So I guess my point is coming back to it. You don't know. Like I would say, if there's like for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they don't have a lot of assets to give up right now. They covet this kid, Easton Cowan. If the Leafs feel that player X will get them over the hump to make them either a Stanley Cup contender or to win multiple rounds,
Nazem Kadri.
Yeah, well, they might have to think about trading somebody that they would price. Now, that's not, hey, we're seeing something that we got to get rid of this kid. It's the cost of doing business. So that's the only thing I would counter that with, Red.
Yeah.
The other thing with the Rangers in Montreal is, oddly, they were in a playoff mix and then had a bad season. And when they bottomed out, they got the first overall pick. Rangers got Lafreniere. Montreal got Slavkovsky. You know what I mean? Like when when they had that dip, it worked out perfectly for them. Now, maybe you want better talented or different types of generational players, as they say, but
not great draft classes. Okay ones.
But it's interesting how both of those kind of worked out.
Add on that too, Boomer. So say you're right, your playoff team, and then you have just a bad year like Boston last year. Yeah. But it's what you do with the assets that you trade in the deadline and all of that too. What did they get for Marchand? Because they made the finals, they got an extra first rounder, right?
Yeah.
So, and they moved out Trent Frederick, and they moved out Coyle and a bunch of guys. Yeah.
It's the deck chairs while you decide. So say you're a playoff team that last year and you're not going to be a playoff team this year. Go scorched earth and try and get rid of things that you don't want moving forward.
But don't time out. Yeah, with your
you take a 1-year hiatus and like, we're going to crash and burn here.
Tampa did it.
Burn it down. And that's what Boston did. They literally is like, Marchand's out. They were moving players out. They shut guys down. McAvoy shut, Lindholm was down. Like all these guys. So like, yeah, we're just cashing out here. We try and get a pick and we trade some of these players for high picks, and you restock the cupboards.
Would the fear in Calgary be, because that's the position they're in right now, for good or for bad? And you can say, well, the crappy part about it is it's so early on, or the good part about it is
there's clarity. There should be clarity.
I feel like it's clarity to me. You could argue that no, they got lots of time to dig out of this and to put a push on. I'm like, well, or you can accept what you are and play to that strength.
The luxury, I would say, on all of this, they have is time. Because, I don't know, unless you're playing with fire and your top trading pick gets hurt. You're playing.
That's the fear.
Rasmus.
So it's Rasmus. Like so.
Expiring deal. We went through this with Tanev 2 years ago. You're like, oh my God, he's going down the tunnel again. Like, did they just lose him for nothing?
Which he did go down the tunnel again. Isn't Tanev hurt now?
I think they lost.
Oh, it looks like I think he bumped heads with somebody last night in front of the net, and then I don't know what happened, but he didn't come back.
Sorry.
They need him. But you're right. That's asset management. It's like, okay, are we going to do this early so we're protecting an asset? But can't bubble wrap guys. You just got to let them play. But I think, there is time here to figure out. We all feel like what direction it's going to go, but you got to figure out when you take it in that direction, you got to maximize what you get back. You're not moving guys for the sake of moving guys. This is literally the future of the Calgary Flames. Literally.
Yeah, and I don't think Connie has a tough time with this, and I think fans will be patient and understand it because they've watched the team somewhere between 7th and 12th in the West for the bulk of the last 30 years. My one curiosity is about the guy we never hear from. It's the guy that owns the team and calls the shots. Is he willing to do that?
Yeah, that's the multi-million-dollar question. Yeah.
He would, I think, he doesn't want to do it. I don't think, my gut tells me he doesn't want to do it, but it might become real clear for him too.
Yeah.
And it might be an easier sell factor if you're 10 games in and you've got one win and you're going, well,
That's the thing, Noodles.
Plan B.
It is early, but they're on a 6-game losing streak in their 7th game,
and they
they
shouldn't have won the
cannot
first game.
and they cannot score. And I don't know that that's necessarily something they're just going to magically break out of for an extended period of time. They may get some 4 and 5 goal games, and that's whatever. But they look to be a low-scoring team and have already got a 6-game skid under their belt.
Right. And you're sitting there thinking how many of those you're going to have this year type of thing. And I get it. It's funny, especially early on, how one win either, can change how you look at things, or one bad loss can take, like I'm in Toronto. Luckily that the Jays are going so well because
no kidding.
black armbands for the Leafs right now, and they're 500. They're 3-3-1. And, Jersey handily beat them last night and looked like the better team. And people are like freaking out. And you're like, okay, so one convincing win or convincing loss. And you're like, okay, what is this team? Whereas in Calgary, right, 6 games without a win, you're like, okay, this has already become a long season and we're 7 games in.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Couple things. I thought it was interesting when you talked about Will Smith that you referenced him as a singer first and not an actor. So you're big.
I don't like Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what he did for that.
What's wrong on the guy? Yeah.
When he
Chris Rock, yeah.
slapped Chris, and I thought that was a fake too.
I did too when I was watching.
Yeah.
This is staged.
It looks staged.
So that was my first observation. Second, that Red Fisher, he was a very imposing figure. This guy would strike fear in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Listen, and listen, I don't want to speak ill of somebody who's passed, and he was a Hall of Fame legend. So keep in mind, like there's people that are probably going to come at me and go, how dare you speak? Well, I get that. He was a Hall of Fame legend. But you know what? We all judge our opinions on our personal interactions. I did not have a good interaction with him. So I don't I'm not going to go, oh, well, he treated me like garbage, but he's a great guy or great. I can respect what he did for a living, but I didn't like him. I'm sorry.
That's why we love you. He's calling us.
And you're a great guy.
Yeah, everyone likes you.
Yeah, so I feel bad.
Noodles doesn't like you. There's got to be.
I'd like you more if you bought me my food, but
yeah, you need cheese toast. When are you passing through town? What's the story here?
Calgary, it's cheese toast for everybody. We're going to Caesar's cheese toast, the baskets of it, but I'm getting my own basket. Yeah. And I'm getting the Moscow Mule sitting there for me.
Nice.
And the last thing, talking about singers, I'm sure maybe you've seen this one, but you talk with Joel Quenneville, your former coach. He had a great set of pipes.
He really did.
We used to do a thing on the old radio show, Better If Drunk, and we always felt like the clips of Joel or whatever.
Yeah,
it'd be better if I just imagine that he was hammered. It makes the clip a lot better.
That Chicago squad.
Take me out to the ball game.
He loves a cigar, so that's that cigar raspy voice. Like that is That's him in a nutshell.
I'm imagining that after the Hawks have won and he's had like a week
What
bender.
a party that the
Well,
team and that city
remember,
had.
it's one of the greatest all-time speeches, isn't it? Corey Crawford, where it's like bunch of beauties and swearing away and like hammered on stage. Nowadays, that's just
That's what you do.
That's where the Panthers are saying we make apologies to nobody and all of that type of stuff. I never was placed in that winning situation to be that drunk and do whatever I wanted. I just I did
Not
that
yet.
naturally.
Not yet, Noodles. Not
That
yet.
was a Tuesday night at what was the place? Kaylee's, right, Pat? Right by Calgary. Or Morgan's. Was it Morgan's Pub?
Morgan's.
Morgan's had the cover band from the 80s that played.
Yeah, the
Broken Toys every
they were
Tuesday.
awesome.
Oof, good night there.
That was a Tuesday night at Morgan's where we got the raspy voice going.
Things could go sideways.
Exactly.
Never boring there.
Well, we'll let you go, but I mean, there's always things there's so much because you were in Ottawa covering that game last night. The Senators are in a bad
Both
place
teams
right now.
needed that win. I was joking with somebody this morning saying Chris Knobloch and Travis Green could have met at noon yesterday, and they both would have had a handshake and say, let's take this to overtime. We both get a point here.
At least,
and, we'll fight for the extra point. That's pretty much what happened. It was a pretty careful game. Both teams kind of, Edmonton at the end of a road trip and Ottawa, still trying to find their legs. I thought Olmark was good. Skinner actually played well. Like there was some life in Edmonton. They looked better because they looked disinterested, really disinterested in playing in the previous games. And Ottawa's, they're in one without Brady. Brady, not only just the player who can score 35 to 38 goals type of thing, it's an attitude. I think people look at Ottawa differently because Brady in today's game now, which is weird to say, right? Like he's the boogeyman. There's 3 or 4 of them. Tom Wilson hit that Heedle the other day. You would think they were going to stop the league. Pretty clean hit, I thought. It might have been slightly late, but
split second late, but
we don't see that anymore. So a guy like Brady really, the layer comes off of a team when you have such a wild card, a guy who is an absolute physical difference maker. So he sets the tone for his team and nobody messes with it because he's right there, right? So you don't have that. They're really struggling to find their, kind of their game without him.
All right, buddy.
See you next week.
Do you fly home in the morning? When do you get home after
I
this?
was on a 6:20 this morning. So
Do they know that you live in Toronto?
Yeah.
Do you know that you live in Toronto covering the Ottawa Senators? I'm just
you're a
curious.
part-time Torontonian because you're on the road so much.
I'm an Alberta boy too. I'm in Alberta just as much. As
There's 2 of him, right? Isn't there? There's
Yeah.
got to be. He's everywhere all the time.
He's an AI agent. That's
he
what
is.
he is.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's 2 of me.
Nice. We're in Nashville next weekend. Just a reminder.
Oh, it hurts my heart for you guys to say that. It's next weekend.
Halloween, we land.
Boom was there this last weekend
last
too,
weekend,
so he's
yeah.
We were in the field in Saskatchewan last week. Is that last week?
Yeah,
2
that
weeks?
was 2 weeks ago, and then Nashville. Yeah,
All right. Next weekend,
Halloween.
Mary
See you there.
Swanson. Never know.
Direct flight.
Was it 40 chicken frieds? Let's go. Come on.
Just take a thick amount of cash
Yeah.
and put it in an envelope and just hand it to the guy. When you walk into Tootsie's, the stage is right on the right side. Just hand it to him and say, chicken fried 20 times in a row, please.
Dang.
But then the stack has to match the ask. Put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's what we need you there.
All right, buddy.
See you, Noodler.
Hey, buddies. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.